Your credit file is your money CV, revealing your achievements and your dirty little secrets. Mismanaged, it can kill your financial ambitions. Played right, it can open you up to a world of choice and competition. I'm going to start with a myth-busting session of the Royal Bath & West Show. Credit scoring. You've got a number, haven't you?
Yeah.
And do you know what that number means? Yes, what?
It means you get accepted.
No. It doesn't actually mean very much at all. Yes, many people think your credit score tells lenders whether to lend to you, but it's not that simple. So many people get in touch with me and they're like, "Dear Martin, I'd like to write to you because I have a credit score that's absolutely perfect. I have recently, though, been rejected for credit, and I do not understand how this works. Why have they rejected me for credit?" Do you know why? Number one, every company scores you differently based on its own wish list of what is a perfect customer. You might be applying for a bank account. They might really want to cross-sell you a mortgage if you get the bank account, so they're seeing whether you're profitable for them. Number two, the score that you get at the credit reference agency is a loose indication of whether you are a good or bad risk, because there's one factor they don't include, and it is the single most important factor: your income. To explain this, I want to show you that credit scoring is actually pretty intuitive. It's common sense. Will you come and play with me, sir?
I'll play with you.
What's your name?
Nick.
Nick, you're in the pub. A long-term friend of yours comes up, and this fella always forgets his wallet because he's useless. And he says, "Can you lend me 20 quid and I'll buy you a pint tomorrow and give you the money back?" And he's done this 122 times before.
Yep.
And he always pays you back the next day. Would you lend him the money?
Yes.
That's how credit scoring works. They look at your credit history. If you want to borrow, you've got a good credit history, you look likely to repay. Next guy walks up to you in the pub.
Yep.
Forgot my wallet again, and he always does this. "Can you lend 20 quid? I'll give you back tomorrow and I'll buy you a pint." Now, he's done this lots of times before, and most times he always forgets, he never repays. Would you lend it to him?
Not so sure, no.
No, he's got a bad credit score. I know I'm doing country wisdom, we're in the right place for doing it. It is country wisdom how credit scoring works. They try and predict your future behaviour from the past. Number three, somebody comes up to you, looks very smart, quite handsome, wasn't me. You've never met them before,
Yep.
And they say, "Look, I'm really sorry, I've lost my wallet. I'm a really nice guy. I promise you, I'll give you the money back tomorrow and I'll buy you a pint." You ask around, nobody you know has ever heard of this person. Would you lend them the money?
Probably not.
No. Another problem is that they don't have enough data on you to decide whether you're a good or bad risk. So someone who's never borrowed will often get rejected. Now for that income point, which lenders get from your application form and especially affects mortgages and larger loans. I'm a very good friend of yours. You've lent me money in the past, I've always repaid it. I'm afraid I need £1,000. However, I lost my job last week and I've got no income. Would you lend me the £1,000?
No.
Why not?
You haven't got that certainty looking forward.
Because I don't have the income.
Yes.
You may have a perfect credit score that shows you have always repaid in the past. But if you don't have the income, they're not going to lend you the money. Let's give them a round of applause, everybody.
You did very well.
You did.
Now, Martin, I find this topic fascinating. I've got lots of questions for
Okay.
you. The first one being, is what's the best way to check your credit file?
There are three credit reference agencies, the big two, Experian and Equifax, and also Call Credit. And you've got a statutory right to check your file for £2. But these days, there's a much easier way to do it for free. And it's not by signing up for expensive credit monitoring services and using their free trial. Look, quite simply, Call Credit, just go to the Noddle website. Equifax, go to ClearScore, and I've got to declare an interest. For Experian, you go to mymoneysavingexpert.com Credit Club. All of those give you your credit file for free and your credit score for free.
Now, loads of people have got in contact and said things like, you know, I've cancelled my credit card, my credit score has gone down, should I be worried?
No, your credit score is just a loose indication of what a typical lender would think. Actually, cancelling a credit card, some lenders think is good because you've got less available credit. Other lenders think it's bad because you haven't got a history of longevity. The credit score you get is not a tool lenders use, it's just a consumer tool to give you a rough indication of what lenders think. Don't worry too much about a few points here or there.
Right, so that's credit scores, but what about credit files? How often should you be checking them? Because that has all your information on.
This is the big one. I would check at least once a year using one of the big agencies, preferably all three agencies, and I'd certainly check if you've been rejected. Because if you've been rejected because of an error, well, if you continue to apply, you could then, even if you fix the error, still be rejected because of all the applications. It's a vicious circle. Avoid that.
OK, so what should you be checking for?
Everything, 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 line by line. Here's a story. Once did a money makeover for a show on a woman who was rejected for a mortgage. We wanted to find out why. Turned out she had an old mobile phone she wasn't using. It was still technically active. It was registered to her old address. And that inconsistency triggered a fraud score rejection. So going to the old mobile phone company and saying, can you update the address, fixed it.
OK, quickly, you mentioned about affordability scores. How can you check those?
Well, there are ways to check them, but the truth is it's about the interaction of your affordability and your credit score. And really, that dictates whether you're accepted or not. So what you want to know is, will I be accepted?
And there is a way to really test your overall financial clout and find out whether you're likely to get top deals without damaging your future chances.
I'm looking at buying a car, not a new car, second-hand car. So I'm just thinking about getting a loan.
Gary and Lucy had budgeted for a loan that was needed and affordable. So I put them onto an online eligibility calculator that uses a soft search.
Almost every time you apply for credit, it leaves a search on your credit file. Lots of searches, especially in a small space of time, are detrimental to your ability to gain credit in future. So I'm always very allergic to willy-nilly applications, more so because we live in this thing called a rate for risk world. So often the rate that you get depends on your credit file. So the only way to find out what rate you will get is by applying, but by applying that marks your credit file that gives you a worse credit file in future.
Downward spiral.
Yeah, exactly. Vicious circle.
Eligibility calculators access your credit data via a soft search, and then, like lenders, they ask for your income and personal details. It then uses this to show your acceptance chances for each product.
A soft search goes on your credit file, so if you check your credit file, you would see it, but lenders won't.
Right.
Same's true if you check your credit file, that goes on your credit file, but lenders can't see it.
So it doesn't affect your creditworthiness.
Press the magic button. Oh, well, there we go.
Wow, 95%.
So 95%.
Amazing.
Good odds. And it's not just loans you can do this for. It works for all types of credit cards too, including those that cut the cost of existing debt.
We showed how quick and easy that is in our live show a fortnight ago.
I pay £30 a month in interest on my credit card. What's the best thing to do?
You need to do a balance transfer. Would you do one now?
Yeah.
Isha, what I'd like you to do is get her onto an eligibility calculator. Has anybody else got existing debts on credit cards? Yes? Would you like to do a balance transfer as well?
Yes.
Another one for you, Isha. This lady's across.
She's left her bag.
She's left her bag. Even better way to save money. Look at your purse.
Don't worry, I gave it back in the ad break.
A balance transfer, of course, is when you get a new card and it pays off debts on old cards for you, so you owe the new card the money, but at a cheaper rate of interest.
Pamela had a good credit score, so she had a big choice.
95% chance I'd go for the fee-free card, 29 months, 0%. Bingo, easy way to save lots of money.
But Kate's credit score wasn't quite as strong.
Her top result was a poor credit card.
So you've got 100% of the Capital One card, but that's only a 6 months 0%, so you definitely could get that. How long do you think you'd need to repay the debt?
Probably a couple of years.
If you can pay it within 2 years, I'd always look for a no-fee card, and just scrolling down the list, oh, you've only got 50% chance of that. I would, just for safety, go back to the top with one of these 38 months 0% card, 2.49% fee. OK, so you're going to pay a small fee, but compared to what you've been paying for years, the saving is still going to be around 350 quid on that one.
We packed a lot into that show, didn't we?
We did. I tell you what I get looking at that. Kate is proof that credit scoring isn't just about will you be accepted or not, but it can actually dictate your product choice. And this goes back to those people who say, I've got a perfect credit score, why am I being rejected? Because each lender scores you differently.
Well, Martin, why don't you take us through right now what they know about you on your credit file?
Well, I've got my board to do just that. First thing, electoral roll information. If you're not on it, often it'll kibosh applications. You've got all the public records, the bad stuff about debt, CCJs or the equivalent in Scotland. Now, they stay on your file for 6 years. So if they're about to wipe, wait to apply until it's gone. Then you've got searches. That's applications you've made. They only stay on your file for 1 year, but still spread them out. Don't do too many in a short space of time. Linked data. Have you got a joint bank account or mortgage? If you do, then the person you're joint with, their file can be looked at when you're being assessed. So don't get a joint product with someone who's got a bad credit history. Then all the stuff you'd expect, your account data. So all the credit products and whether you're paying them in time. But also things like gas and electricity direct debits, monthly mobile phones, monthly car insurance, they're loan products too, they go on your file. And they've just started in some areas putting renting on. May not sound too good, but actually it means if you pay your rent on time, it'll boost your credit file. And then here's what they don't know about you. Just take a look through this. There's the stuff we've mentioned already, but student loans, for example, are not on your credit file. Doesn't mean they can't ask about it, but it actually doesn't tend to be seen as a loan product. It just reduces your affordability. Who you're married to, who you live with, not on your file unless you've got a joint product. So there's a lot of things here that you can see that aren't on your file that many people think are.
Now, Martin, loads of people have been getting in touch
Yep.
to say, what do you do if there's an error on your file?
Well, first of all, you contact the company who the error's with directly, you know, whoever's put it on, and say, can you get rid of it? If they say no or they dispute it, then you write to the credit reference agency asking to put a notice of correction on, which is where you briefly explain why you think it shouldn't be there. That can slow applications down, but it can also help you get accepted. And at the same time, you then appeal to the Financial Ombudsman Service and ask it to get rid of that default if it shouldn't be there.